Welcome to the Word for 2021. Today we're in Numbers chapter 23. Balaam was a pagan prophet that God used to bless the nation of Israel. It was not what Balaam wanted to do. He wanted to make money off of cursing the nation, but God would not have it. God chose to bless Israel through this false prophet. God had given a message to Balaam to speak. He had to speak only what God told him to say. And one of those things that he said in his first oracle, that being Balaam, was this, in verse 8, "How can I curse these whom God has not cursed?" God was in control, and he would not allow Balaam to curse his people, but only to bless them, even though this was contrary to Balaam's nature. Balaam was all about greed, selfishness, and manipulation. He was used to manipulating false gods all the time and gaining money from it, but he couldn't do that with God. As a diviner, as a sorcerer, he used to make money trying to bless people or curse people, trying to manipulate the gods all around them. But again, God was in charge. In verse 11, after his first blessing, Balak, the king, came to Balaam and he said, "What have you done to me? I brought you to curse my enemies, but you have done nothing but bless them." Balak, he wanted to have the nation cursed, but God would not again allow it. King Balaam, however, did not give up. He said, "Let's try this again." And so a second opportunity for Balaam to curse the nation came. But again, God gave a message of blessing to be spoken through Balaam. In verse 19, these are some of the things that Balaam was told to say. "God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should change his mind. What he has blessed, I cannot curse or change," says Balaam. In verse 21, "The Lord their God is with them. The shout of the king is among them." Again, God was speaking blessing over his people through Balaam. Now, before Balaam spoke all of these different oracles, he again tried to use sorcery. Balaam tried to manipulate God. He had Balak make 7 different altars with sacrifices on each one. And they even built them on top of mountains, thinking that if they got closer to God, then God might listen to them. But chapter 24, verse 1 says this. This is how these practices were described. They were ways of sorcery. God cannot be manipulated through false worship or through the persistent selfish appeals of people. Carnal ways does not move God's heart, such as getting closer to God so that we can then have God hear our prayers. God responds to those that are humble in heart. God is as close as the mention of his name when we come humbly and with a contrite heart. God responds to those who seek him in spirit and in truth. God keeps his promises. He does not lie or change his mind to bend to human will. As we read these chapters, Israel was probably totally unaware of the spiritual battle that was happening all around them as King Balak tried to put a curse upon them. Our enemy, Satan, he has plans to curse you, to attack you, and to destroy you. But as we read God's word, we know that he is our ever-present help in time of trouble. He is our shield and strong tower. Within God, no weapon formed against us will prosper. God is our defense for battles seen and unseen. The nation of Israel, they were totally unaware of what was happening around them. How many times have we been totally unaware of what Satan has been trying to do, but God has been protecting and watching over us? Why not thank the Lord for his provision and his protection from attacks seen and unseen? We should probably thank God for protecting us and providing for us when attacks have taken place and we have been totally unaware of it. Thank you for joining the Word for 2021.